We've got some fresh
Hey,
new young
I'm Luis.
talent doing
And
some
I'm
things that I know you
Luis.
haven't
And you're listening
heard
to the
before.
Content is Profit podcast.
We spent the last 4 years learning the strategies and techniques from some of the top marketers in the world on how to create content that turns into profit.
If you'd like to learn more on how to turn that content into profit, go to contentisprofit.com.
Yeah, guys, today, how Hindsight is helping these entrepreneurs crush it.
I just want to say one thing.
Let's go.
You said that word correctly.
Let's go.
For the past 30 minutes that you were trying to say, I was
Yes.
like, no, man, that's not how you say it. You want to say how you used to say it?
I was trying to pronounce. I was pronouncing the word Hindsight, and I just
that
kept
doesn't
saying
make
it. I
sense.
don't know why. And my brother's like, I don't think it's pronounced like that, and then he corrected me. But
It's okay. We
all good, guys.
confirmed with our guests, and they said that is correct. Fonzie,
That is
you
true.
deserve one of these.
Thank you, guys. And one little announcement before we go on with the show. This episode is sponsored by the one and only Content Momentum by your own Biz Bros.
Woo, baby.
And guys, if you have long pieces of content, right, like this podcast that you are listening to or watching right now, we can turn it into those sweet bite-sized assets. So you can send them all over your social media, right? Like your little minions, so you can go recruit more clients. So if you got those pieces of content, those long pieces of content, just hit us up, slide in the DMs at BizBrosCo, and we would love to help you out.
Sweet. Awesome. With that being said, guys, don't forget to subscribe to the Content is Profit podcast. Smash that subscribe button and follow us on social media. We're happy to respond to any messages coming through our DM. So go ahead and slide through those, guys.
That's right, guys. And if you find this episode impactful, which I am sure you will, because today's guests are absolutely amazing,
baby.
Don't forget to share it and leave a 5-star review.
Let's
5,
go. So,
5,
double
5.
trouble alert. We have another 2v2 on site. This time with two amazing friends that have quickly carved their place in the digital marketing world by forming partnerships with entrepreneurs such as Kathryn Jones, Jamie Atkinson, Alex, Elliot, and many, many more.
Surprise, surprise. We connected with them through the power of content. They heard our podcast. We were guests on. We saw them engaging in common groups. We all reached out to each other and boom! We immediately became friends, guys. Next thing you know, we are on their podcast. They are on our podcast. We are in all the podcasts out there.
They help people achieve things that they never thought possible for themselves. Their program helps people to get more visibility, traffic, and sales.
Sign me up.
That's right. Fun fact, between the two of them, they have a combined of 8 kids.
Almost a full soccer team.
Let's go. Oh, and they have helped hundreds of people grow their careers and life through their coaching.
No big deal, guys. I'm so excited. You are going to have a blast listening to today's episode. Please welcome host of the Hindsight Hacking Podcast, creators of the Now My Dream 22 program, and awesome friends, Cory and Ron, the Hindsight Hackers.
Let's go.
Need a beer, I need some drinks. Like, let's party.
What is going on?
Good job. What's up, guys? We're so excited. We're so stoked to finally have you on the show, man. Appreciate you guys coming on. All right. I mean, I feel like we've been chatting for like the last 30 minutes trying to get this like new setup going. And, there's no better people to, to have you guys on the show and try this out with you guys, because you guys understand the power of podcasting and publishing and, just being out there in front of your camera. So I want to say thank you again for coming on.
Yeah, definitely. It's our pleasure. And, you got the friction out of the way already, right? Like you took away the first 30 minutes, took away that friction. Now we're live. Now we're good. Now we're going to have some fun.
Absolutely.
That's right.
I just wish we had some bruising here, man.
The first 30 minutes, that was like the first date, like all the awkward stuff just went out the window. And now it's like, let's go. It's time to have some fun.
Let's go.
Now it's time to go dancing. We already had the drinks.
That's right.
That's right. It's Friday, and the buddy knows it. Hey, guys, I want you guys to like share a little bit with the audience, who you guys are, what do you guys do, and where like all this like movement of like hindsight hacking, your podcast, and how you guys coach people. Like, how did that get started?
Yeah, I'll go first here. And basically, Ron and I, we spent many, many years in the restaurant industry. We both had climbed the ladder, and I found myself traveling the world, really traveling to nowhere in USA, nowhere that you would want to go. I was away from the kids. I was away from the family. I finally took I took a big leap, this fear-based decision, and I left this awesome, amazing job I had, and I took a big, giant pay cut. And next thing you know, it led me to meeting Ron. So that fear-based jump I made allowed me to find a good partner. And we, after talking and connecting for a while in that job, we found that our favorite thing and our values, they all aligned. So next thing you know, we were starting to build our own thing. And I'll let Ron tell the story from there.
Sure. I think you just told everyone I'm cheap. So that's I was listening to that and I was like, nah, yeah, that's kind of how it went down. I was on the other side of the spectrum here. I had a lot of success in network marketing, but I didn't really want to tell people I was a network marketer. And I didn't like recruiting people over and over and over and over and over and over again. Right. So I went back to the corporate job, worked my way up, met Cory.
Yeah.
And then my wife and I were expecting our third child, and all those questions of, do we have enough time? Do we have enough money? What should we be doing? And I was like, well, there might be a different way. So I reached out to a mentor of mine, and she said, you should check out Sideways Marketing. And I'm like, what the heck is Sideways Marketing? I don't know what that is. So I told Cory, I go, hey, can you figure out what Sideways Marketing is? And he came back with funnels. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. So let's try that.
Yeah.
And, then we were like, okay, publishing. How do we publish? Publish, right? So we were like, it'd be fun to have a radio show. Let's have a radio show. And he's like, how about a podcast? I was like, all right. That's like a radio show. And then it kind of propelled from there.
That's awesome. That is so cool. I'm kind of curious on like the story on like how you guys first met. Was it friendship at first sight? Was it, hey, who are you? I'm coming for you. What was it?
It was definitely the love at first sight. No. Yeah. So Ron was looking for a person to take a job, and we quickly found that Ron was my boss at the point, and we worked very well together, and we found that we were not being utilized to the best of our abilities by what we were doing. And so I mean, it was, I would say, definitely instant. That connection happened, and we started.
I find that interesting. The fact that you said like Ron was the boss. How was that change on the relationship? Kind of like that transition from boss to partner. From both of you, was it natural? Because I would imagine, this is just me making ideas. Some people might find some friction in that, right? Like, wow, like kind of like the hierarchy, like, oh, this person, he is a little bit above me on all that stuff, right? Maybe some false beliefs. But I'm curious, how do you guys deal with that?
So I'll take this one, Cory. So this one's easy. I don't do any work based on titles. I truly feel everyone is Cory's out.
We got it back.
I said a bunch of good things about you, Cory. You missed it all.
Yeah, we're like, nope, blip it.
Yeah, we're like, he's about to say something bad. Take him out.
Cut that.
So, I don't work on titles. I truly feel everybody's an adult, and we all work together. So I don't ever say, hey, I'm your boss and that's why you should do it. Yeah. And I don't treat people that way. And I valued Cory's past experience, and I treated him as a peer from the get-go.
Yeah.
There was never a time that we were structured. I mean, we were structured in a way. He was, but that's not how we ever worked, because I just don't work with people like that. It's always a peer level. And I've always said, if I have to tell you I'm your boss, then you should probably look for another job, because I don't like managing that.
I love it. And it, in a way, to me, it sounds like core values. Like you both have core values that probably align with each other, and that helped you both, connect and start this new project together, right? And in a not only collaborative way, but like respectfully as well, right? And I'm sure the line of communication is there too, because that happens with my brother. Every time he says something, I just like slap him behind the head, and that's it.
He definitely doesn't pay attention. So I had to just make sure that we have systems around our communication to make sure that he gets a message. So email, Slack, everything automated. No, I'm kidding. No, but
you just put him in a bot.
Exactly. Just. Yeah, it's like this pigeon comes into the office and delivers the message.
He's like, Fonzie, subscribe here real quick. And then I start getting his notifications. I'm like, dude, you're right next to me. Why are you sending me these?
Yeah.
It's the only way you'll read it.
Exactly. I'm very curious too, because a lot of people ask us this when we come on their shows. They're like, hey, how do you guys handle, working together? You guys, well, first off, your family. You guys feel like, you have a very deep friendship too. But the dynamic, right? And we do live together. We work together in the same office, right? And somehow we're still alive. Now, I'm very curious to see like your dynamic. Like, obviously, you guys come from a totally different industry. You guys pivoted big time. You guys are being very successful at what you guys do now. And that comes also, or probably big time, from your relationship with each other. So how's that dynamic? Have there been like any challenges in there that has been very hard to kind of go, or has it been just super simple?
Yeah, I think from the relationship, the fact that we both leaned on each other, right? Like every step of the way, we would kind of use each other as the sounding board to get better. Right. And it's back to the core values. Like we believed in the same things. We believed in, we were inspired by the same type of things. Right. And so it made it easy. And when we started developing our own business, I mean, literally we were at first doing this coaching, in-person seminars, all this stuff before before funnels were discovered and OFA and all that fun stuff. Yeah. And so, it just kind of went from there. We literally like, okay, where do we want to go? What do we want to do? And it's always been aligned. And then the other piece to that makes the partnership and relationship easy is the fact that we have different strengths, and we know we have different strengths. Yeah. And we both are better because we have different strengths. So I think that's kind of the big win that with all this. Our core values are aligned. We have different strengths, and it makes the company better for it.
Yeah. I love what you said about the different strengths, because there might be a lot of business owners, a lot of people, not only like on their teams, but when it comes to like trying to hire somebody, for example, for either their content or like marketing or different things, right? And we might or might not want a little bit more control over that, but then we start questioning the person that we end up hiring, right? And we lived it like on the service provider side of things, right? And they will pay you money, they will pay us money, and then they will come and then they're like question everything that we were doing. And we're like, we needed to have like this conversation where like, guys, like we're partners in this, right? Like you hired us because of the result that you want. We can execute and get you that result, but you got to let us work. So I found that very important too, not only to work together as in like the same company, but work together with different people that you're hiring as well. So thank you so much for bringing that, and just make sure that the values aligned and what the company stands for and all these things. And I think what you guys are doing with publishing every single week, just making sure that your message is out, it portrays that. So the people that listen to your content, that consumes your content, is already accustomed to what you guys do, what you guys say, how you guys operate, and then that frictionless sale happened like really, really quickly. So
I think is also pretty important the fact of mentioning that you each know which one are your strengths, because and I don't think we've shared this in the podcast before, but there was a moment where we weren't growing. I'll say we were pretty like stagnated, if that's the word.
Stagnated.
But we were actually, one day we sat down and we're like, wow, like there's two of us, yet it feels like there's only one person working. And I don't mean like only him or only me, but it's like we're both doing the same tasks, like we're together doing the same thing every single time, instead of dividing and conquer, right? Like and that's when we were like, okay, what are our strengths, what are we better at? And we found out my brother is better at like the more operation stuff, and he takes care of all that stuff, right? And me, I'm
What
more
are you
of
good at?
I'm an explorer, you know. I go up to the clouds, and I, you know, with my lasso, it's like grab cool ideas and bring them here.
He's a dreamer. Yeah, we're working through
He's
that.
good at
right?
letting you do the work, is what I'm hearing. I don't know.
Apparently,
Yeah, that's right.
we might have to rethink the ownership percentage here on this business.
The
Okay.
structure.
Hey, we'll see about that.
Yeah, there's a couple things you said that is 100% true. You know, because we have people that hire the agency piece, and then they're like, want it done exactly how they're doing it, and it's like, but if you could do it that way and you didn't get the results, what? Just hiring us to do it exactly like you did it.
Yep.
Guess what result you're going to get?
Yeah,
The same
exactly.
result you just got, except you're going to spend money to get the same result.
Yeah.
So we try to set up those conversations from the start of the relationship and say, you know, what is the boundaries? Let us play in this big box. And as we get close to the boundary, slap us back, you know, and then going back to talking about the strengths, you know, that's both of our management styles when we were in other companies as well, where we didn't focus on the weaknesses of people. I'm a team builder. I'll build teams around me.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's all a cog, and I will find the strengths in the amount of people around the cog to make the wheel go.
Beautiful.
And it's up to you to work on your weakness. We'll work on it together, but I'm relying on your strength.
That's awesome, you know, and I mean, it comes down to communication and trust. Like, why are you gonna hire someone if you're not gonna trust them on their strength, right? What you're saying, and let them perform in their zone of genius, right? Where they're gonna do extremely good. I mean, you're probably hiring that person because they can do that one task better than what you can do. So if we just try to impose ourselves and our ideas on top of them, like, we're just gonna be limiting what they can do. So that's awesome. And I'm curious, going back a little bit to your story, right? That you guys came from the restaurant industry, right? What was the transition like? I'm so curious, you know, because I used to be, I worked at the restaurant industry, not managing or anything. I was just a waiter, but I was like, I don't think I enjoyed this as much, right? Like, there's a lot of hard work that goes into it. And I mean, and there's a lot of hard work that goes into this as well. But I'm curious, what was that transition for you guys coming from, let's say, a physical world business to the online business?
Yeah, I mean, Ron and I, we were pushing that path anyway, right? Like, and so it wasn't like it happened overnight, but we were both building something. Like, we would work, you know, our full day, and then we would go start working on our other stuff to build something on the side about stuff that we were truly passionate about. Yeah. Right. And so finding this whole online space, although it took a little while, it definitely, you know, wasn't so different because we had been working on it while we were still working in the restaurant industry. And then, you know, COVID happened, and it really happened for me and for our agency, because I was, you know, in March, I still had the full-time job, and I got furloughed. Never again do I have to go back to work, because our agency is, you know, 100% can support us now. And now I get it, you know, my office here is at my house. All right. Yeah. So my kids are downstairs, my wife's downstairs. Like, I get to be here. Whereas before, traveling and doing all the stuff, like, none of that didn't fit in the values. So yes, like you were talking about, like, there's hard work, but now it's hard work, and I may work more, but it doesn't feel like it.
Right.
Yes. Wow. That's so cool. And, you know, for those listening out there, like, understand that that's okay. And you know, like, the situation that Cory is describing right now, like, you might work a little bit extra, right? And same thing happens with me, right? I get home sometimes, you know, 8 p.m., 9 p.m., but it's because I want to, right? It's like, okay, you know, I really believe in what we're building here. I really believe in the connections. I really, truly enjoy the conversations we're having with people like you guys, like Ron and Cory, right? And then literally the time just flies by, and my wife's like, oh my God, you know, you're working way too much. I'm like, don't call it working. I really, really enjoy this, right? So it's like trying to find that. Like, how do you guys find that? Is that something that you guys always wanted to do, or was there always a bug? Like, what happened?
So I'm always that pioneer personality type, entrepreneur. I've decided I'm not a good employee, is what I've decided. Okay. I don't take direction very well from a boss figure. I just don't. Like, I've decided that. But, I love graphics and taking people's images in their head and just making it pop in a way that they didn't expect.
Awesome.
And really just over delivering. Like that's a passion of mine, and it comes easy to me. So I didn't value that part of me because I just assumed everyone can do it, just to be completely honest. And it took me a while to understand everyone can't do it. And now I'm able to provide for my family through this cool passion, which is a hobby, which is now a job, right? Which is cool. It's part of our business. It's a hobby and it's fun. Yeah. So, that's what's different than what it was before.
Yeah.
And all the, like, you only have to take direction from me, right? So
that's a plus.
I don't like him either. He's mean.
I can relate so much to that, what you're saying, because even though, like, I didn't go through all the years, of experience pre going online that you guys had, but the few jobs that I had, I did enjoy them. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't want to be again an employee. I was like, I don't like this. Like sometimes I wanted to get creative and do certain things my way, and I couldn't because I was within that one system, right? And just, I want to clarify, there's nothing wrong with that. Some people thrive in those spaces. Some people love, like being part of this culture, and that's where they thrive, and that's absolutely amazing. But I can relate to you because we both had that feeling. We're like, no, we need something for ourselves, right? And I mean, we've gone through this, but we tried a bunch of things: t-shirts, stickers, ebook library, coaching, soccer, and it was all fun. And it's like, honestly, I think that's the fun part, like exploring different alternatives and then eventually reaching one that you're like, okay, I can stay here long enough, right? Grow it. And who knows what's coming in the future, like maybe we're absolutely. Like, let's go, next idea. What can we do with the next idea? Once this has systems and it can probably, survive on its own and grow on its own, like systematically, let's try to find something else. And it's totally okay to move around as well.
Yeah. Cory, you said something like when COVID happened, right? Now this is your full-time thing. You guys are able to live with this, like provide to your families, provide value to your clients, to your students. Like, it's so amazing, right? A lot of people are maybe like on that transition. It's like, okay, how do I go from a job to that? And for us, right, it wasn't a job, but it was a type of client that we had, right? It was like a type of client that we had before COVID, and that we're actually looking for ways to see, like, how can we, like, maybe fire them or maybe do something different, right?
As when you kind of like that girlfriend that you have one time that you're like, how can I escape this relationship?
Yeah, sorry, Sarah.
It was not kidding. It was exactly like that. We're like, what are we gonna do with this one? Like, how can we escape?
And hey, like, they provided a ton of value to us. We provided a ton of value to them. Like, it was a really successful thing, but at the core, it was not something that we really wanted to do as an agency moving forward. So, right, for us, as a business, right, COVID really was a blessing, right? Understanding and respecting anything and everything that's happening around that. But for us internally was actually a really good thing because it made us pivot, because these guys that, we were serving for, they were like, guys, like, unfortunately, we're closed for the next few months, like, and we don't know how long this is going to happen. So we actually had to execute, right? And I see that you guys also had that change in perspective from that situation. Is that something that was easy to come by, or did you learn it before? Like, how was that process? Like, how were you guys able to, look at this situation through a different lens than most people and make the most out of it?
Yeah, I mean, it helped. It was helpful because Ron and I were already on the path, right? Like, we already had identified the direction we wanted to go. We already had our podcast, and we were consistently doing our episodes every week and doing, extra stuff throughout. We just weren't necessarily as good at it. And then ultimately, we just started doing different things to get visible. So, like, everything that Ron and I have done, we haven't paid for. Like, we have not run a Facebook ad for ourselves. We went and tried to like market.
Yeah.
We were just visible in different ways that I'll let kind of Ron explain. And then people started coming to us, right? And so COVID allowed me to have the time to fulfill on those people that were coming to us. Whereas if COVID didn't happen, I would have had to make that choice. If you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So it really worked out because I was forced to make that choice, right? Someone forced me to do the thing I wanted to do anyway, right? So, but it was all part of the everything fit in the plan and with what we were doing. And then we just started truly getting visible around people and doing certain things for that I'll let Ron talk about.
Yeah, we were very deliberate on what we were going to do during this time. So we had a conversation. We're like, okay, let's plan out and run full steam and see what happens, right? And then we were making these cute little videos to get visible and to get noticed, to stop the scroll. And then I realized people enjoyed them, right? Yeah. And other people weren't doing them, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, those are cool!" And I was like, "Wow, all right, let's have fun with them." And that started propelling us and getting us noticed more and more and more. And they're like, "Well, what do you guys do?" I'm like, "Well, this is the stuff we do." And everything that we've accomplished, I feel very blessed, has been because of word of mouth, and we're taking care of the client in a way that, if our opinion is, you should feel like you're our only client. And we will take care of you 100%. And we're going to over deliver in everything we do.
Yeah.
Because why would you leave?
Exactly.
Why would you leave?
I like that. The mentality of like, you are the only client that we have. I love it. I'm curious, define cute little video.
Okay. All right. So, you know how if you're in a group and they tell you to do something, there's a selfie video, maybe it's branded. Like ours is a production. So it looks like you're looking at a desk. The monitor is actually us talking on it, and there might be something going on with the other monitor. We did a little thing for Kathryn and Jamie when they did a joint venture. It was 2 cell phones next to each other. And their presentation was on the top half of it. It looks like you're in their Facebook group.
That's so awesome.
And I'm talking to it, and Cory's talking to it on both sides. We're arguing on whose offer is better. And then we both disappear and pop up in the other cell phone, and we agree. And then we start arguing that the other person was right. And it was like a little commercial for them.
Yeah.
In their Facebook group to help promote their offer.
Yeah.
And so those are the cute little videos that we enjoy doing. It's just not out there. People don't do it.
Yeah, no, I love it. Definitely super creative. And I encourage people to try to get creative with this when they try to create content, because that's the way you're going to, like Kathryn calls it, the nap. It's part of getting that attention from people, right? And you guys mentioned that you try different things to be visible. And I think that is key right there. And I want people to really understand this. Like, write it down if you can. A lot of times we spend so much time just creating the content, and then we're like, oh, that's it. Like, we put it out there, right? It's like, hey, you need to promote that content. You need to do the work to become visible, right? And part of one of the rules that we have, we maybe not follow 100% of the times, but it's like, if you spend 1 hour creating a piece of content, then spend an hour trying to promote that piece of content, right? And it is super, super important, because a lot of people don't understand that. I think that is the lifeblood of you actually getting people. Like, you need to go out there and not only have a distribution plan, like, oh, I'm going to post it here and here and there. No, like, spend time in these groups and connect with people, right? And how are you going to get them to consume that content? And if they like it, comment, engage with them, start conversations. So I'm curious, what are some of those things that you guys did, right, on that promotion side for visibility? And I know you guys haven't run ads, which I think is absolutely amazing, because that's going to let people know that it's like, hey, you don't need to run ads to be successful. So I'm curious, what are some of those things that you guys did?
Yeah, it starts with, even for our podcast this week, right? Like, you both saw the little video that Ron made. And so,
Yeah.
I mean, that just stands out a little bit on a post, right? And so we've done that before for the show. And then next thing you know, there's someone commenting on it that ends up on the show as a guest because they just like that video, right? Or in this, like that branded thing that with Kathryn and Jamie, you know, everybody when Kathryn and Jamie Atkinson are both commenting on the video and thanking us, right? Like people that want to know them are now talking to us, right? People that look at them, you know, but they don't really have a way to connect to them. Now they're connecting with us, right? And we've been in other groups too, where we've done these introduction videos or a challenge and you do homework and we give such value. Like it starts with them seeing us on the scroll stopping video. But then we start to promote, or not promote, but we start to engage with those people that talked in such a way that, I mean, they know, like even like Brian Delaney and Nick Unsworth, we were doing their Launch Your Expertise Challenge. And it was almost like Ron and I were their support inside their group throughout the challenge, right? Like we did that challenge to learn a few things, but at the end of the day, we did it to be visible and we did it to connect with people. And those people ended up being clients.
And they called us out multiple times. So they recorded that and they're going to put that on an evergreen resale. And they called us out like for 3 weeks in a row during their course, either called us out, our video out, our company out. And one person even called and said, hey, can we hire you or do you only do work for them?
That's awesome.
Like, well, you could probably hire us.
You're like, here's an application.
We'll think about it, you know?
We'll think about it.
We'll let you know.
That's such a...
It's like what you know, Josh Forty, when he does his stuff, every time he has the testimonial, like you see you guys, right?
Yeah.
Like you guys are on that. You made that list. So every time Josh is doing something, now you're one of the people that are showcased, right? And that's kind of part of getting visible. And then anybody that notices it, you make sure that they not only know you're visible, but they know your expertise, that they know that you can serve them, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And being like real, like
yes,
we were adding value, not to get anything in return. So I'm going to tell a quick little story.
Don't let him.
Don't let him just cut it right here.
There was this one guy who was starting a podcast, and all he wanted was a logo.
Yeah,
I was like, sure, I'll do a logo for you. Here you go. So as I was talking to him, he goes, yeah, I launch on iTunes tomorrow. I said, oh, that's cool. Did you get your, approval? How did that go? He goes, oh, do you have to submit? And I was like, yeah, like you don't just go on iTunes tomorrow, right? And so I'm working with him and it's almost 1 a.m. And I'm like, can you just give me all of your logins? I know I just made your logo. Like, I know I'll get you all taken care of. So
I won't hack you.
I set up his Simplecast. I got him submitted to iTunes. A couple days later, he said, I'm submitted. I said, cool. Or he was approved. So now he was on iTunes. And I did that so I could help him because I can honestly add the value. Yeah. And I didn't expect anything in return.
Yeah.
Now, from that particular conversation, he has referred over $11,000 worth of client business to us.
Wow.
Yes.
And that's something that I had no idea would happen, right?
Yeah.
But it's how we added value to people,
Yeah.
and we don't do things for the money. We want to make sure you're successful, and we're going to add the value. And at some point, you're going to realize the value we added is probably worth something.
Absolutely. Like this is such a, and I think it's the first time that we actually touch on like this specific type of thing with content. Like we always talked about, add value, be real, be genuine about this thing. But what you guys are bringing to a table is such a cool strategy for a lot of people that are starting up, right? And not just for starting up, like continuing to do it, right? For us, it has been a massive part of like our strategy on building relationships. And I think we spoke with Don Mamoni, like he's like, dude, relationships first and profits, it will come, right? Because through these relationships, you never know what's going to happen. Is it a JV? Is it, a client? Is it, as a referral? Who knows? But at the same time, it's like, hey, I want to make sure that we're providing the most value possible, right? For us, it means we're going to try to do our best to do the best experience possible for a show, right? And then if they have questions, we're going to answer all the questions. And if they reach out and so on. And it has been a wonderful learning experience, right? And one example of that is you guys. When you guys brought Steve Larson to the show, I'm like, what? This is so awesome. This is so cool. We're part of the same family. And I remember adding Cory on Facebook. I'm like, dude, this is awesome. Let's connect. We speak the same language, right? And from there, we got an invite to your show. And then you guys got an invite for us. And I'm sure there's going to be many, many good things coming, both ways because of this relationship that we now have. So for those listening, guys, and watching, this is so, so, so important because remember, it's social media. It's social. We need to be social. We need to create those relationships. We got to make sure that we understand that we're talking to human beings, right? On the other side.
Yeah. And
we need to take both of our podcast raw audio and let you guys go to town with our show and your show, and then we can both share 80 pieces of our 2 interviews. That'd be
killer.
That'd be pretty epic, just drop them all over. Little minions just going everywhere. Just
where's your little mini-me's?
Yeah, that'd be so much fun. Yeah, actually, we should. Okay, so super random tangent. There's a new game on PS4. Well, on the gaming world, it's called Fall Guys, and the main character, it has main headlines everywhere, and the main characters are like jelly beans with arms and legs. They're hilarious, and they're just so funny to watch. We should have those and put our faces in them. I think it would be absolutely amazing. Just throwing that out
I'm
there.
gonna make it happen. You're gonna get a message with Jelly Bean Men with a beard. It's gonna be great.
With a beard, yeah, that would be so cool. So I got something here, because when we're talking about relationships, right? And I agree with you. I am on the same boat. Do things without expecting anything in return. I do kind of think you still need to ask, right? Hey, you never know who knows who. So after you help someone, it's totally okay to, ask them hey, by any chance, if you know anybody that needs help with this, just let me know, right? I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm going to play devil's advocate here because a lot of people, and we've talked a little about this sometimes, but they might be in a place of need, right? Where they're oh, my time is so valuable. I cannot invest my time in helping other people, getting out of my way, or I have so much stuff to do on my own. Why would I go out of my way to help someone else, right? What would you tell to someone that is in that position, right? And that doesn't mean they're bad people or anything, they might just be in a place where, their needs right now are to take care of their own stuff. So they might see helping others, going out of their way a little bit. They might see it as a little inconvenience at the moment. So what would you tell them?
Yeah, I've got so Ron's story of helping this guy launch his podcast, that's kind of a big extreme. That was a 5-hour freebie basically. And yeah, I agree. Not everybody has that time. So I have another story that helps showcase, even if it's just an hour. And so there was somebody that made a post on ClickFunnels group, Facebook group, right? And they just needed a little help. So I was happy to help. I jumped on. And this person, it's not like I built a funnel or anything. She had her funnel, but she just needed this button fixed and this thing fixed, right? And so I spent 30 minutes with her. Well, then she reached out, I don't know, another 3 weeks later and was hey, Cory, how much do you charge? I just have a little bit of help I need. And again, I jumped on. It was only 20 minutes worth of me helping walk her through fixing something. And she's okay, how much do I owe you? I'm no, I'm not going to charge you for that. That's not worth it, right? And so at the end of the day, it's a total of an hour of my time. And I know that at some point, this person's going to hire our agency to do more than just build this funnel. She's going to hire us to do all the marketing that goes along with this funnel because I know where she's at in life. And I guarantee you, anytime she ever talks to somebody that is in need of something, she's going to think of us. Right. Absolutely. And so even if you don't have the 5 hours, I believe, Ron mentioned earlier, graphics came easy to him, right? What can you do fast what can you do better than a lot of people? What's your superpower, so to speak?
Yeah.
You can afford to give a little bit of time. It doesn't have to be 5 hours to 1 a.m, but it can be a half hour here. It could be a half hour there. It could be just proofreading a funnel for 5 minutes and give feedback, right? Like it doesn't have to be so big that you just can't give time for someone. And at the end of the day, if somebody isn't able to do that, then, I personally, they wouldn't be somebody I would have around.
Yeah. And the other thing is there's so many people doing stuff online.
Yeah.
And you can instantly tell if they're doing it for money. Right? Instantly. Yep. And if you're doing it for money, you probably won't get it.
Interesting.
Right? So if you do things for the right reason, the universe has a way of making sure you're taken care of.
Yeah. It does come back.
Yeah, that is powerful. That is very powerful. I feel like we've noticed that actually, like the times we've gone like out of our way and like help others, like, hey, like do this and that, it's like probably turn into the best relationships and businesses, right? Like again, when what we're doing right now, pre-content repurposing agency, we used to experiment a lot with like funnels and stuff, right? Like all our clients would be guinea pigs. We're like, we just heard this new stuff we can use, and like we'll go and do it. And
until we got called out.
But that's
okay. We're still good friends, and, and they got awesome results.
Exactly. So, and actually, that one client, how it all started is, so I used to do contracting work for Orange Theory. And she was a nutritionist, and she would come and talk to the members and stuff. And I was like, hey, like, what do you guys do exactly to get new clients, all that stuff? And they were having a rough time. And I was like, hey, you know what? I know about online marketing and sales funnels. Like, I would love to help you guys one day. If you guys want to, I can swing by the office. And she's like, oh, okay, thank you so much. A few days later, she reached out. She's like, hey, do you know about Facebook ads? We want to run some. How can we do this? So I was like, I'll go to your office. So I went there and I sat with them for like 2 hours. And I was like, hey, like you might want to do this, like you don't really have an offer. If you're running the ads like this, you might just be losing money. So they were like, wow, this is super helpful. So I gave them a few action points. I'm like, here, this is what you should do to start. And then just let me know how it goes. Like 2 weeks later, she reaches back. She's like, whoa, this worked out perfectly. Like we got like a few sales and everything. Thank you so much. And I was like, yeah, of course. Like, these are the next steps that you should actually do, right? Like, at that point, I was so invested. I was like, this is so exciting, Like, it's working out, right? It's so cool. And what happened is, like, we didn't hear from her for a few months. And then she's like, hey, we actually are planning to launch an online course. We actually have one. Like, we launched it, and we did, like, one sale. It was, like, $500. And it's like, we just did one sale.
I actually didn't know that they had one sale.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't even know they had one sale, actually. Yeah, that's true. And she's like, can you guys help us out? And we're like, absolutely. So they became a client of us. And I mean, we launched that again, and we did like $12,000 in sales in like a 2-week launch. And she was like, this is absolutely amazing. And then the relationship just kept going. And it all started because, we decided to help them out of good faith and just like, hey, like, yeah, you have something cool that I totally support, and I want to see you succeed. Let's go ahead and do it. So thank you for bringing that up, because I think a lot of people know it, but they have a hard time accepting that they need to do it, or just having a hard time coming across, kind of like putting their ego aside and be like, yes, sometimes like I need to help, which that makes me think, does putting your ego aside to help others, like, is that, I don't know, interesting.
Oh, man. Okay.
Yeah, there's like a whole loophole in here. I'm going, I'm going through a black hole right now.
Hey guys, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, it's funny that, like we had a client in June, and it was they paid us $5,000 for some work, and not necessarily by our fault, but the results weren't necessarily happening. Someone else had built this funnel, and the funnel design was not part of the scope of work. Yeah. The next thing you know, I'm doing a new funnel, right? And then at the end of the day, Ron probably did like $15,000 worth of graphics and video editing and all this stuff.
Wow.
And at the end of the month, we just thought it was a one and done. Like they just had this summit and we just helped them, get it as best as possible. And that at the end of the day, they were like, yeah, we would have paid you a lot more. But then lo and behold, they hire us again for a $15,000 project a month later. Right. And so again, if you go into it with the sole purpose of money, right? Like you want to get paid what you're worth. You want to get paid for the jobs you do. Right. But at the end of the day, if it's all about the money, then it'll be a one time, it'll be one and done. Right. But if it's all about going above and beyond, giving the value wherever you can give, at the end of the day, everything's going to come full circle for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love it, guys. For you guys, everybody listening, please do it. Try it out today. You probably have somebody there in your network, at work, one of those clients, somebody, pay it forward, see what happens, right? Like if you're in the fitness industry, give her a couple of seconds of a consultation, right? If you're in the nutrition, like call somebody, be like, hey, how can I help you today? What do you need help with? What are your questions? Go ahead, try it out and see how like it turns around, and then come back and let us know, let Cory know, let Ron know, let us know what happened and what's the benefit afterwards. Trust the process, trust yourself, trust the relationship. It's gonna happen, guys. Like people, we need more of this in the world, right? So thank you guys for bringing it on. I want to start transitioning a little bit since we're almost getting to that hour. We could do a marathon with you guys. Let's just crack the beers and then
bring out the rum.
Bring out the rum. Right. But I'm very curious, right? You guys obviously have an amazing show. We talked about it on your show. First off, you told us a little bit of the motivation behind it. How have you guys been able to stay consistent? Because on our side, like for us, we have obviously our system, but what we've seen with a lot of people is that they struggle a lot to be consistent. Maybe because they don't see the benefit, maybe because it's not exactly what they're passionate about. Like I'm very curious, like how that process has evolved to what it is now, which is an amazing show.
Well, we appreciate that. So we did interviews like when we first started. Anytime anybody could be on, like we're like, yep, we're available, right? And so now it's like, nope, Thursdays and Fridays are interview days. Like those are the days we'll do it. Yeah. But we just dropped episode 60. I think you guys were 68.
Yeah.
For us, right? We have 30 more episodes in the bank.
Nice.
Right. And so when we talk to people and say, okay, we will launch every single Monday a show. If you have something coming up, like we launched a special show today because we were live on your show. So we're like, we're going to launch yours. It actually just popped up. The YouTube just went live 5 minutes ago.
Let's go.
Nice.
So, we do one-off shows like that. And then we do little webinar podcasters that we do as well. But the consistency piece, we made a commitment to ourselves every Monday, even if it's Cory and I just talking, we will be live. And then we wanted to get far enough ahead to bank it just in case something happened.
Yeah.
Where we wanted to take some time off. We still have 30 more Mondays to go.
That's so cool. That's so cool. I love it because a lot of people, like when they say, hey, start publishing, they're like, okay, I'm going to do this. And then, a couple posts later, they're like, that's it. Like, that's all I'm publishing about because, like, this is so painful. And, we lived it, right? We told the story a little bit with you guys about the 45 Live and how to stay consistent. And for us, the priority is actually do this thing 3 times a week. Like, we cannot miss a day. This is the thing. Maybe in the future, it might change. We don't know. But for now, it's like every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we're actually going to do this thing. And if somebody cancels or reschedules, we hop on and we chat it up, right? Just like you guys did. And it's so awesome to see a different structure because this might bring some light to people that it doesn't have to be live every single day. It doesn't have to do this. Like, just make sure that you find a way where you can actually execute, right? And then stay consistent with it. And you guys have found it depending on what you guys do every single day, every single week, right? You guys have that system, which is wonderful.
Yeah, and I'm working on the not 45 Live. I was going for 30, but I can't seem to get Sundays. I can't seem to go
Sundays
live.
are hard. Sundays are very challenging.
Yeah.
So, I was gonna say, Ron and I, we're working now because we have our guests every Monday.
Yeah.
Like we're working now to build up the bank to have what we call our daily hacked episode show, and then actually start producing a podcast daily. with a short little daily hack, and
Yeah.
then have our weekly interview. So that's kind of like, I mean, but we have to build that bank first.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love it. I know.
Hey, you can do a for Sundays idea. Just do a Sunday fun day show. You know, like you can be like a 1 minute fun fact of the week.
Bring the kiddos. Maybe it's not related to like the business itself. Be like, hey, here are all the children. What's up, guys? And just chat it up. I know Sundays for me was really challenging to do it. They ended up being like at 11 at night. So it's like, oh, shoot, I got to do this.
The other piece about publishing I wanted to touch on is we wanted our content not out. I mean, we wanted to help other people, right? So we wanted to make sure our content's available when our customers or our listeners are listening, right? So we actually, when we launched our podcast, we were going to do it every Friday. Friday was the day we're going to do it. And then we launched a bunch of episodes right at the beginning, and we watched when people listened. And actually, people listen the most on Monday at noon. So now we had to say, okay, Monday morning before drive time, because it used to be 7 to 9, but the noon time took over on Mondays. So we just have to make sure our content's available for when people want to consume it.
Yeah.
So
that's
awesome.
That's a cool tip.
Yeah.
Kind of like try it out and check, you know, which times are the best and when it's people tuning in.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like catering to them. It's like, hey, I'm
So-
going to put it right in front of
yeah.
you at the time you're going to be in front of their computer. And you got to check it out.
Yeah, here's a funny story. We're helping somebody, like this guy's almost in his 70s, right? And he loves to write. And somehow he decided to do a podcast about the things that he writes. So we were on a call with him. And he goes like, okay, you know, perfect. We already have like the stories and I write it and then I read them and how does it sound and blah, blah, blah. And like, there's no audience. There's nothing, right? I'm like, the first thing you got to do is put it out there. We need to put it out there. That's the thing. It doesn't matter, right? Go ahead and let's start publishing. And then he's like, okay, what's the best time to publish? I'm like, we don't know. There's no data yet. Like for us is every single day because that's what we do. You know, for you guys it's Monday, you know, at noon. But for somebody that's like starting from zero, we just have to get it out consistently and then go back, look at that data, see what's happening, and then adapt to that. So I think this is wonderful. You guys execute brilliantly on your strategy. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, what is very quick action point? I know that you guys do a ton of stuff, but let's think on the audience on content side of things, right? What is a quick action point that people can execute today?
That they can execute today.
And it can be two because it's two of you, so that's fine.
Okay. I mean, let's just stick with the visibility piece.
Yeah.
Like anybody can go into a Facebook group and find a way to be unique. Ron and I use videos, but find a way to stand out. Don't just go like something. Don't just go heart something. Don't just go say, awesome, I like your post, right? Like go make something valuable, give the feedback, and get noticed by one person. Just start there. Get noticed by one person.
I had a conversation with someone today. They're like, okay, can you do for me what you guys do for you? And I go like, make the cool little videos and stuff. And they're like, yeah. I was like, sure. Okay. Can you go in the groups and do that? I was like, no, you've missed the point. Like you have to be present in the groups. Like I'm not going to like join this challenge and learn everything about it so I can tell you what to do. Like you got to enjoy that challenge or it's going to be seen through, but be genuine in that conversation and genuinely connect with those people and add value, like real value.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
So
guys,
awesome.
I hope you guys are right now going into groups and adding value, real value. No awesome, hey, no likes. I mean, you can like and give hearts, but also give a bunch of value. Yeah.
Be present. You know, it's been so many people. I mean, oh man, this is awesome. We speak the same language. I just like I love this because my head is just turning, and that's why.
My brother, before we were doing the episode, he's like, "Man, I can't wait to go to the next funnel hacking live."
I can't, you know,
because like now we all know each other. It's gonna be so much fun.
I think I have a new brother. I don't know about you, Luis. I've got, Fonzie and I.
There
It's
we
okay.
go, yeah.
I can't.
For those that are
Ron,
listening,
you and me, my man, we're the bosses. You
For
know, it
those-
is what it is.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
for those that are only listening,
We got
guys,
the black shirt going on.
Corey and
We
I,
got the hat.
we got the most epic hat on, we came matching together and we didn't plan it, which makes it even more epic.
Oh man! All right, throwing rocks at me. Okay, so most important question of all, guys, to wrap up the show, and then we send people your way. Where will you be if you did not start publishing?
I would be searching for a job.
Yep.
I would be
Yeah,
taking
we-
orders from someone else.
Yeah, we would. We actually just had this conversation. It's crazy if you just publish over and over and over again how your life will change. Like our life has changed because of a silly little podcast.
Yeah.
It's not
right?
silly.
I mean,
It's not
seriously,
silly.
If you really break it down, our life is polarly changed because of a podcast that we started. And when we started, we had no idea what we were going to do. We named it Hindsight because it was the year 2020, and that's hindsight, right? And hacking was a big thing, so we put in hacking, right? That's the name of
Love
the
it.
show.
That's so incredible. Thank you guys for sharing that with us. People are like, how do you guys choose your colors for your brand? I'm like, we literally hit the random button on whatever website that was.
Yeah, there's a website called Colors, something like that. And they had like a random button, and we pressed it. The most random,
Set of colors.
came out, and we're like, yeah, that looks good. We're gonna keep those, right? And then it was about just publishing. Honestly, like you said, not only the growth in our business personally. Like it helps you so much.
Yeah.
And now what happens to me, I don't know if this happens to you guys, but I see I meet someone that they do something really cool, and I can see that they have so much potential, right? And they're like, how do I grow this, or how can I do this? And in my mind, I'm like, wow, you have a gem in your hands. Like, just publish. Like, just start
go
creating.
out to the world.
Yeah, just create content. Talk about it. Talk about it. How would you use it to help people?
Yeah.
And trust me, you're gonna be okay. And I start seeing now these partners everywhere. Like, oh, you have so much talent. Like, what you do, go do it. Go publish.
Yep.
Guys, how can the audience connect with you guys? How can they reach out to you if they connect with your message, if they want to see your show? How do they get in contact with you guys?
Well, we have our Facebook group. So facebook.com/groups/now22. And if they want to learn more about that program, it's nowmydream22.com.
Awesome.
Yep. And we're all over Facebook. You can check out Hindsight Hacking on anywhere you listen to your favorite podcast or YouTube.
Awesome. Hey, before we go, for people that are curious about that group, what is that Now 22? I'm curious. Asking for a friend,
Asking for a friend.
Go ahead, Ron. You got this one.
All right. So going through the whole OFA challenge, you talk about 100. Uh-oh. What just happened?
Oh,
We're good.
You good.
We Gucci.
Okay. So you talk about the Dream 100, and, then you hit the ceiling of the Dream 100.
Ron, you're fired.
Yeah. It's like, okay. Sorry, Ron.
I think he did that on purpose.
If you're
So
starting
so Corey would do
and
it.
The internet.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it. From here.
The internet started crashing on you right now. So, yeah, I think
Okay.
the
I don't
internet
know
was
what
like
happened. Sorry.
All right, rewind.
Sorry. Bye. Okay. We're good. Now, Corey, you good? No, I'm kidding. Rise back. Here we go.
All right, so now my Dream 22, right? Like Russell Brunson, if anybody knows him, he spent 10 years trying to get in Tony Robbins' good graces and trying to do business with him. He spent $500,000 on mastermind.com to actually do business with him, right? Now, most of us, or most people just starting out, they don't have 10 years. And they certainly don't have a lot of money to spend and buy a domain like mastermind.com for $500,000, right?
Yeah.
And so you come out of the OFA and you're like, Dream 100, who's my top niche? And so for Ron and I, we're like Russell Brunson, Steve Larson, right? Like, how can we get noticed by them? Well, honestly, I'm not going to go send Russell Brunson a bunch of gifts. I'm not going to go work 10 years to try to get to notice. And honestly, so many people that I know that know about the Dream 100, they either make the list and never do anything with it, or it's such a daunting task that they don't even make this list. And so we built a framework called, it's basically the OPP. So anybody that knows Naughty by Nature from 1991, the OPP song, but it's offers, partners, profit. And honestly, we teach you a better way to do the Dream 100 with the Dream 22. And we teach you how to level up with people at your level and how to eventually get to the level with the Russell Brunson or whoever's top in your niche.
Yeah.
And, avoid the headache while doing it. So if you have no list, if you have no audience, if you have no group, literally all you got to have is an offer. And then you can be a part of the Now My Dream 22 and double your audience, increase your visibility, increase your traffic, and ultimately increase your sales.
So awesome.
That's awesome.
So awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing.
So everybody listening, please, your homework today, forget about the previous action points. Just go to, the Dream 22. That's it. Like, that's what you got to do. That's
so for them to join the group is facebook.com/groups/now22.
Yep.
Awesome.
Damn.
Ron, I feel so bad, that the internet just crashed on you at the moment that you were about to shine. Like, I could see your face, man.
I was ripping.
Yeah. You had the biggest smile. You're like, here I go. And then the internet just like, nope.
It's all good. It's good for Cory.
Dude, guys, thank you so much. This was a blast. We're like, we're just going to talk for 30 minutes. No, it's been an hour, guys. Oh, so amazing. Appreciate it. Don't leave. We got to say bye to the podcast people and then to the Facebook guys. And with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in to the Content is Profit podcast. Don't forget, go ahead and smash that subscribe button and follow us on social media at BeastBrosco.
That is right. And if you find this episode impactful, which I am sure you did, don't forget to share it and leave a 5-star review. See ya.
See you guys.